So in the last class, we saw some basics about different time series methods, time series properties, and then how we go from time domain to frequency domain, spectral density, and how do we compute spectral density, and how spectral density is related with the autocovariance function for a stationary time series. So this we have seen, and now in this class we will further discuss the properties of spectral density and how the spectral density is computed for different time series processes and what is their behavior. So this is the condition for spectral density, whether it is power spectral density or energy spectral density. So we are generally speaking that it is a spectral density. So the autocovariance function of your time series has to exist. So essentially this summation should exist of the autocovariance function. So gamma is the autocovariance function, which is just a function of h. H is the time separation between 2 points at which we are measuring our autocovariance function. So it should be finite. So this summation should exist. This summation should be finite. If that happens, then we represent the spectral density f omega as a summation over h equal to minus infinity to infinity gamma h e to the power minus 2 pi omega h. So this is essentially nothing but what we call is the Fourier transform, that your autocovariance function is a Fourier transform. That your spectral density is nothing but the Fourier transform of your autocovariance functions. And we can say that the total variance, this we saw in the last class also, that the total variation or the summation over the spectral density, so if we integrate it over the entire frequency range, this f omega, that will represent the total variance in the signal or in your time series. So the properties of spectral density, we have seen also that it is a positive function, so it is never negative, and it is an even function. So this I will post as an assignment, that you can easily prove f omega is equal to f of minus omega. So you can easily prove this. So this will be an assignment for you. And when we put h equal to 0, so this your spectral density is nothing but equal to the total energy in the signal, or total variance of the signal in time domain. So now we see that how spectral density for different processes is computed and what is the behavior of spectral density. So what additional information we get from spectral density with respect to our time series processes. So as I said in the last class, that the aim of going from time domain to frequency domain is that we want to understand which periodicity, which periodic behavior is dominant in our time series, so that we can understand the underlying process, the generating process. So this is important. So first, you have already studied the white noise case in the beginning of this course. So I'm just reviewing it again, revising it again, so that you can easily appreciate it, what we are doing here. So this is your white noise. And you will understand today also that why this is called white noise. So this is your white noise. Here are time samples that at different times you have some value of your noise. So white noise means if we compute the autocovariance function, because we are going to compute the spectral density, so we need the autocovariance function of this white noise. So the covariance function or the autocovariance function of this white noise is omega t plus h at t plus h and omega t. So this is that is at these 2 points where we are going to compute the autocovariance. You know, this white noise has a mean 0, so the expectation xt is equal expectation of wt is 0, and the variance expectation of w square t is nothing but the total variance of this white noise, which is sigma square w. So the autocovariance function will be equal to sigma square when h is equal to 0. Since this is a white noise, that means the values at one instant of time are completely uncorrelated or completely unrelated to the values at a different instant of time, so the autocovariance will be 0 when h is equal to 0. When h is equal to not equal to 0. So that means at two different time instances, the values in this stochastic stationary process are unrelated, so the covariance function or the autocovariance function will be 0. When h is equal to 0, that means you are taking autocovariance at the same point. This is nothing but the variance. So that is sigma square of the total white noise. Then we write the spectral density f omega as the summation over the spectral density, autocovariance function, and the Fourier transform of it. So essentially this is a Fourier transform. So gamma h equal to, when h is equal to 0, f omega will be simply gamma 0, because this exponential term will become 0. So that is essentially equal to sigma square omega. If, for example, this standard deviation or the variance of this process is equal to 1, so how can I write the spectral density? In the lower panel you can see here is the frequency, and this sigma square omega is independent of frequency. It is everywhere 1. So as you can see, f omega is just sigma square w. Sigma square w is equal to 1. So at each frequency, whether it is 0 0.1, 1, 5, 10, 100, 200, it is everywhere 1. So the spectral density is constant across all frequencies. That means each frequency in the spectrum contributes equally in the total variance or total power or total energy in the signal. Or we can say that, so simplest, I think it is better to say that each frequency in the spectrum contributes equally to the variance, because we defined spectral analysis that how each component of different harmonic components, different sines and cosine, contributes to the total variance. So here they contribute equally well. So that is why the name is also white noise, that all frequencies have equal contribution, as in case of white light, because white light is, which is a uniform mixture of all frequencies, all wavelengths. That is why in the white light spectrum. So that's why all frequencies are present and contributing in the same manner, in the same way. That is why we call it white noise. That's why the name has come, white noise. Now the next process. These are simple examples which you have already seen from the time domain perspective. Now I want to put a frequency domain perspective, that what additional information you are getting when you are computing spectral density, or specifically if somewhere it is written power spectral density or it is energy spectral density, but whatever we are talking about is spectral density. So MA1 process, we are talking about a moving average process 1. So usually that is how we write a moving average time series, WT plus typical theta, we can say theta plus WT minus 1. So in this case, if theta is 0.5, so essentially it is written as in terms of white noise at that current instant of time and some previous instant of time, and theta is some coefficient here. So WT is a white noise, so again the expectation is 0 and the variance is sigma square or sigma square W. So if this has a variance, has expectation of 0, so we can write that expectation of xt is also 0, but we want to estimate the autocovariance function. So the autocovariance function of this process you can easily compute, which will be 1 plus theta square sigma square omega when h is equal to 0, and when h is equal to 1, that is theta theta multiplied by sigma square or variance of white noise. So for your sake I will compute this, those who have forgotten. So if we have this moving average process, xt is equal to wt plus theta wt minus 1. So we write gamma h for this process, expectation of xt, and at different time in step t plus h or t minus h, whatever you write, t minus h. So gamma h will be e xt, we write wt plus theta wt minus 1, and at xt minus h same thing we will write, but with a time difference of h. So wt minus h plus theta wt minus h minus 1. Then you multiply it, open it, so what it becomes, or expand it, expectation of wt minus h. So you are just expanding theta wt multiplied by wt minus h minus 1 from this term, and then this term gets multiplied with this, so theta wt minus 1 wt minus h. Then this term gets multiplied by this term, that is theta square wt minus 1 wt minus h minus 1. Then you take this expectation inside, so for individual part here, then this will be expectation of wt into wt minus h plus expectation of theta wt minus h minus 1 wt minus h minus 1 expectation theta wt minus 1 wt minus h plus expectation of theta square, the last term, theta square wt minus 1 wt minus h minus 1. So your autocovariance function, we cannot compute it directly, so it will depend upon h. So for different cases, for example, if we put h is equal to 0, so if that will become gamma 0 is equal to e wt square. So because h has become 0, so that is wt square plus, so theta is a constant, we can take it outside, theta expectation of wt minus 1 because h has become 0. So here also theta will come out, expectation wt minus 1 multiplied by wt plus theta square has come out, e wt expectation of wt square minus 1 because it is t minus 1, here h has become 0, so this is t minus 1. So now you can see, because it is white noise, so the cross term, the covariance for cross term will be 0. Cross terms means t minus 1 t minus 2 or t minus 2 t, so these cross terms will become 0, so their covariance will become 0. So this is expectation of wt square, so this is essentially the variance of your white noise, so that is sigma square w. This is a cross term 0, this is a cross term wt minus 1 to wt, and this is again the variance, the same variance at t minus 1. So as we said, this is a white noise, so stationary process, so the variance at t and t minus 1 will be same, so we can write it theta square sigma w square. So at gamma, at h equal to 0, your gamma 0 has become 1 plus theta square. So we can essentially theta square sigma square w can essentially be taken common. So it will be 1 plus theta square sigma square w. What happens when h becomes 1? So then again you can replace the value of h here. So that is essentially wt minus 1 plus theta wt minus 2 theta expectation of wt minus 1. You can see here this term wt minus 1, this is h, we are putting 1, so t minus 1 plus theta square expectation of wt minus 1 wt minus 2. So all cross terms will become 0, this term and these cross terms will become 0. What we will essentially be left with will be the variance term, which is at t minus 1 at t minus 1. So gamma is equal to 1 theta sigma square omega. At other values of h you can put values, so all will be the cross terms, so it will be 0. So gamma 1 will be theta sigma square omega. So that's how it came, that h equal to 0, we see it is 1 plus theta square sigma square w, and h equal to 1 theta sigma square omega, and at other values or h equal to 1 or 3 it will be 0. So for example, if let us assume that sigma, the variance of your white noise, is equal to 1, so a particular example xt wt plus 0.5, if this theta is 0.5, then how we write your autocovariance function and spectral density, that is where we are interested in. So gamma 0 will become, when we put h is equal to 0, we know 1 plus theta square, so in place of theta you are putting 0.5, so 1 plus 0.5 square, so that is 1.25, and when we put gamma plus minus 1, so h can be 1 and minus 1 also, so it will be essentially 0.5 theta sigma square omega. I'm sorry, this is not omega, this is w, theta sigma square w. So what it becomes, as you see, so with the total we can write, because for other values, for h greater than equal to greater than 1 or h greater than minus 1, these values crossed, there will be mostly cross terms, so it will be 0. So total autocovariance function what we can write will be sigma square w common 1.25 plus I think this is coming from, yes, so this this is coming from spectral density, so these values we will put here in the integration sign. So for h is equal to 0 we have this value of gamma, and for plus minus 1 values we have this value of gamma. So we can put this in the integration sign, and keeping in mind that for h greater than minus 1 and greater than plus 1, the gamma h will be 0. So everything will be 0, that is f omega will be 0. So only for these two values our f omega will our autocovariance function gamma h will exist, but for positive as well as negative values of h. So it will be same for plus value of plus 1 and minus 1. So that is why there are, so when it is 0, so when your h is equal to 0, so this exponential term will become 0, only gamma h will be there. So when only gamma is there, then it is 1.25 sigma square w. When h is equal to 1 and h is equal to minus 1, then there will be 0.5 sigma square omega we are writing. So sigma square omega we have taken common, 0.5 is there. So for h positive and for h negative, so e to the power minus 2 pi omega plus e to the power 2 pi omega for h plus 1, for h minus 1. For other values greater than, so we can write it mod of h, actually mod of h greater than 1 will be equal to, in that case gamma h will be 0. So that is our spectral density function, which we have computed from autocovariance function. So gamma h was the autocovariance function for a moving average process of order 1, that is your spectral density. Now you see from this, so this is your time domain. On the top panel in the figure you can see here your time, this moving average process is a function of time. And if I plot this function, and if I say that my sigma square omega is equal to 1, sorry, sigma square w, the variance of the process is equal to 1, so the spectrum of this process looks like, as you can see, at lower frequencies the density is higher in comparison to higher frequencies. This is very interesting result. This is very interesting result. It clearly tells you that in a moving average process of order 1, the lower frequencies are contributing more in the variance than in comparison to higher frequencies. You can clearly see the contribution is almost coming equal to 2 from here, and at higher frequencies you see the contribution in the total variance is coming less. This is very interesting. The moving average is itself a kind of filtering process. So moving average means we are making a rough time series in a more smoother time series. So essentially it is a sort of low pass filter. So it smoothens out rapid variations, it smoothens out rough variation, and keeps only the smooth variation. So that's why we often use moving average for smoothing a curve or smoothing a signal or smoothing a time series. When we are smoothing it, it means we are removing those rapid moving vibrations, those rough vibrations, keeping those smooth vibrations. Smooth vibration means low frequency context. So this also is proved here that moving average means the contribution coming more from the low frequency part, not from the high frequency part. So that was the example for moving average process. Now what happens in a linear autoregressive process of order 1? Why I am calling it linear? Because you know that autoregressive process, the present value of that measurable quantity depends upon the past value and some white noise. It is depending upon past value, immediate past value linearly. So this phi can be 1, 2, not 1, 2, 1 maximum or minus 1 or 0.5 or 0.6 or minus something like this. So it is linearly related. So we write this that it depends upon the white noise and function of some coefficient or some constant function of the value of the same series at past instant at just one time instant before. So wt plus phi 1 xt minus 1 also can be written as wt minus 1 plus phi 1 xt minus 2, because now this will depend upon the previous value, noise at that value and the value of the same quantity at the previous time step. Similarly, so the entire series can be written as like this. So I'm just repeating this thing. So you have already done this. So maybe I can slightly quickly, I can proceed slightly quickly because you have already done this. So I'm just sort of revising this so that you completely don't get lost in this. So this is wt plus phi 1 wt minus 1. So that will keep on, because again we can write xt minus 2. So this phi 1 square term will keep on increasing. So essentially it will go up to t minus 1 because it is starting from here. So t minus 1, and then this white noise term will go up to w1. So if wt is a stationary white noise, the expectation of the white noise is, for example, in general case, if it is mu t, it can be 0 also. You can take in case particular case as 0, but in a general case, if it is mu t, so expectation, so mean can be written. So this wt we can take outside because it will be same at t or t minus 1 or t minus 2. So we can take mu t, or I should have written it mu w actually. So keep in mind this can be mu w, not t. And then it will be 1 plus phi 1 1 square plus up to phi t minus 1. So this is nothing but a geometrical series. And the sum of a geometrical series can be written as like this. This will be mu t is already taken outside, 1 minus phi 1 power to the power t divided by 1 minus phi. If phi 1 is not equal to 1, if phi 1 is equal to 1, then you can easily see this 1 is summed t times. Up to here t minus 1 time and 1 time is here. So it is up to t times. So it is already mu t multiplied by t. In a particular condition, usually as we have seen that the maximum value of this will be phi will be 1. So we can say that expectation for a case of when the mod of phi, that phi is less than 1 and minus 1, expectation of xt can be written as, so because, and if t is very large and phi 1 is less than 1, then this value will keep becoming small for large t values. So we can directly write mu t divided by 1 minus phi. So this is the expectation. And then variance is similarly we can write will be essentially the variance of your white noise, because phi 1 and phi 2 are all constant. So that will be wt square, expectation of wt square, which is essentially sigma square t. As I said, I should have written it sigma square w, that is the variance of noise, but you understand it that it is variance of noise. And in terms of when we want to write the covariance, so the covariance of wt and ws, since it is a white noise, so at the values are completely unrelated or uncorrelated. So the expectation of covariance or wt and ws will be 0 when s and t are not equal for the case of white noise. Then we can estimate the covariance of our time series xt, variance. So the variance of our time series will be expectation of wt plus phi wt minus 1 as we have written, and then the whole square of this. So we can, because wt and wt minus 1, all these variances will be same at each time step or a time instance. So we can take it sigma square t outside and it will become 1 plus phi 1 square plus phi 4 square. Cross terms will be 0. So that's why we can ignore cross term, because there will be a term wt minus 1 multiplied by wt, then similarly wt minus 1 multiplied by wt minus 2, wt minus 3. All these cross terms will be 0 in case of white noise. So only the direct terms which are multiplied at the same time, they will exist. Then we can write this again a geometric series, and this sum again can be written. In this case it is 2 terms, so it is 1 phi square phi 4, so it is essentially power 2. So this 1 minus phi 2t divided by 1 minus phi square. So this formula you can see when phi, so this is not a, this is phi, when phi is not equal to 1, this will be the case. And when phi is equal to 1, we can simply write sigma square t multiplied with t. Now covariance, autocovariance, because we need autocovariance. So this was I was just making a background. We need autocovariance to compute the spectral density. This you have to keep in mind. So autocovariance is again computed in likewise. So expectation of xt plus h at different time instances. Again we will write xt in terms of white noise and in terms of the value from the previous time step, so that we can write as we have done in the case of mean, expectation of mean, and in case of variance we are writing these two at the time instances t plus h and at t. So essentially this is something like this: wt phi 1 wt. Here we are just taking at the same value, just squaring it. It will be the same case, but here we can write again omega we can take outside, sigma w thing we can take out, so it will be sigma square t. Again we have to keep in mind only the values will exist in case of w at when they are at the same time. The cross terms will again become 0. It will be phi 1 h plus phi 1 h plus 2 plus phi 1 h plus 2t minus 1. So this you can appreciate if you don't want to really see the like how it came. If I put h equal to 0, it becomes the case of variance. Phi that is 1 plus phi 1 square plus phi to the power 4. So that is why the h is there, this time difference operator, because autocovariance has to depend only h, the time instance difference. Again this is a geometric series. Phi 1 to the power h we can take as a common outside, so sigma square t. Again it will be phi 1 plus phi 1 square plus phi 1 to the power 4 when we take phi 1 to the power h outside, so sigma square t 1 minus phi 1 2t to the power 2t divided by 1 minus phi 1 square. Phi 1 to the power h is outside. Phi 1 mod of phi 1 is not equal to 1 when this is the case, when this is not equal to 1. When phi 1 is equal to 1, again it will be sigma square t, because these will all go up to t values, so this will be just multiply t times, so this will 1 will be just t times, so it will be just t. So if phi 1 is less than 1, either on the minus side or on the positive side, so you can see the variance sigma square from here. So the variance, if phi 1 is less than t less than 1, so it will be, this term will essentially become 1 because it will become very small, so 1 minus very small quantity will be 1, so it will be sigma square t divided by 1 minus phi 1 square. This is not a 1 minus phi 1 square. Then similarly covariance of xt and xt plus h for AR process of order 1 will be sigma square t phi 1 h 1 minus phi 1 square, because this part will become, this entire full part will become 1, because this term will keep decreasing. So because phi 1 is less than 1, so it's a square, then again fourth power, then sixth power, so it will keep becoming smaller. So we can write covariance as sigma square t phi 1 h, phi 1 to the power h 1 minus phi 1 square, where phi 1 is a constant term. So this is our covariance function of autoregressive process of order 1. Now we have to compute the spectral density of this process. So spectral density we can compute like gamma h. So this is our autocovariance function. So here mod is coming because it can be in the plus sign or in the minus sign also. So sigma square w I am writing this time. This is same, just I am writing sigma square t, I am replacing it by w, because as I said in the beginning that I want to write it as the sigma, as the variance of the white noise. So sigma square w phi 1 to the power mod of h 1 minus phi 1 square when phi 1 is less than, mod of phi 1 is less than 1. So on minus on both the sides. So this is our autocovariance function. So it is coming from here. So we have to write the spectral density. So spectral density is integration between h to from over h from minus infinity to infinity, gamma h e to the power minus 2 pi omega h. So you can write it here, sigma square omega and 1 minus phi 1 square, these are all constant, so they are coming outside because h term is only involved here. So summation over h equal to minus infinity to infinity phi 1 power mod of h e to the power minus 2 pi omega h. So we can write, because you can see this phi power, the power of phi like this entire function here, phi 1 with power mod of h is a even function, so we can write For h is equal to 0, this entire thing will become 1. So you can see for h is equal to 0, when it is h is equal to 0, this is 1 and this is also 1. So 1. So for negative side and positive side, we are writing for both sides as we wrote in case of moving average process. So summation h is equal to 1 to infinity, minus side we are taking also inside, so phi 1 h, because for minus and positive it will be phi 1 to the power h, but it will not be the same, so it will become e to the power minus omega h for positive h, and for negative h it will become e to the power 2 pi omega h, and in both the cases phi 1 is common, so we are taking phi 1 the power h is common. So this is again constant term. Now we have to do some algebraic manipulation here. So 1 plus summation over h is equal to infinity. So I am writing this phi 1 e to the power minus 2 pi omega over h. This is as again an entire function together. Similarly, the second one also, summation over h is equal to 1 power from 1 equal to infinity, from 1 to infinity, phi 1 e to the power 2 pi omega, total inside the whole power h. So we can write it like this, right? Why I am writing this? Because again it will become a geometric series, and the sum of geometric series we can write in this case, like if it is a geometric series, usually we write geometric series as a by 1 minus r, 1 minus, so if it is your ar, it is sort of ar, so we can write it a divided by 1 minus I think a divide, so this is a to the power r, so if or a to the power x, we can write it a divided by 1 minus a. Yes, I think it is like this. So sigma square omega, so this is again geometric series. This you can see sigma square omega divided by 1 minus phi 1 square, 1 plus phi 1 e to the power minus 2 pi omega divided by 1 minus phi 1 e to the power minus 2 pi omega. So this has become total 1 together, a to the power x or a to the power n thing. Similarly, this is a to the power n summation. So this is also the entire thing as a, so phi 1 e to the power 2 pi omega divided 1 minus phi 1 e to the power 2 pi omega. Then we can multiply all these terms as you can see here and there. So this mathematical manipulation you can do, this and this will get cancelled. So in the numerator it will be only sigma square w divided by these terms, and when you multiply this, so essentially what you get, sigma square omega w 1 divided by 1 minus 2 phi 1 cos 2 pi omega plus phi 1 square. So this is our spectral density for autoregressive process of order 1. This is interesting. So you will see that when phi 1 is positive, so phi 1 is positive means positive correlation between current value and the last value. So when this is positive, the spectrum is dominated by low frequency components. That means smooth variations are there in the time domain which are controlling the total variance. If phi 1 is negative, so the current value is negatively correlated with the past value, the spectrum is dominated by high frequency component, or the total variance is dominated by more high frequency. There will be rough or fast variations. I think this is very interesting. So if I plot these two here, so this is a positive correlation between xt and xt minus 1, as you see 0.9, and if that is negatively correlated, and if you plot this function, you can easily plot for different frequencies. So you can choose a particular value of phi 1 like 0.9, sigma square you can take as 1, and omega you can generate a frequency vector and plot this. You can easily find that in case of positive correlation, the low frequency content is contributing more. In case of negative correlation, the high frequency content is dominating the high frequency components are dominating your total variance. I think in the last class one student was asking this question, and this I hope this satisfies the answer of that question, that why when the correlation is positive the low frequencies are dominating, or the low frequencies are contributing more in the total variance, and when your autocorrelation is negative, then it is more those high frequencies are controlling. So these are some small and some preliminary examples from different time series processes and how their counterpart in the frequency domain, what we call this spectral density function, which is computed as the Fourier transform or Fourier series representation, because in the real data we are using discrete time time instances or data at discrete time instances, so we deal essentially with the discrete points, so we write it essentially in terms of series. So the autocovariance function is a Fourier series representation of your your spectral density is your Fourier series or Fourier transform representation of your autocovariance function. So that is the benefit of that. You can clearly see that from which part or from which cyclic processes are dominating in your variance or in terms of energy in your time series. So in the next class, then we will see discrete Fourier transform, because once we discuss discrete Fourier transform, then we can discuss the periodogram, which periodogram is a way of computing, is a method of computing spectral density. So first we will discuss discrete Fourier transform, then periodogram, then we will see how far we can go.